Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. This is a story that is absolutely frightening. And if you think things like this can actually happen by mistake, think again. Wicked, the new movie, of course, about witches and promoting witches as protagonists, aka the good guy in the movie, so they could, of course, market this towards young children to tell them that witches are good, and the parents say, it's just a fictional film. This won't have an effect on my child, till, of course, they catch their child practicing witchcraft. And then they'll still say, well, it's not a bad type of witchcraft, having crystals in the house. I mean, Christians do it, right? And you say, what? Oh, you mean the New Age Christianity. You know, Christianity that's a deception because these people are actually practicing healing powers. And all of this stuff ties into Wicca and witchcraft. But nonetheless, the new toys for the movie Wicked, which no parent should be buying anyway, sold by Mattel, actually had a link on the doll for a porn site. That's right, kids. You're opening up the box. We're supposed to believe that Mattel, which if you don't know, I'll get into Mattel in a few minutes after I play for you the news clip. But Mattel is a major corporation. Mattel is responsible for Barbie, okay? So if we know that Mattel is responsible for Barbie, Barbie being the biggest doll that's ever been created, of course, Barbie and your princess programming mind control, well, you know it wasn't done by accident because there's literally no way that somebody couldn't have checked this and realized that they were putting a link for a porn site on the doll, which is being sold to young girls. Absolutely frightening. And you know, on top of that, that the majority of kids whose parents are allowing them to buy this doll, you could bet your bottom dollar that they have access to the internet because they likely have a phone or a tablet that the parents put them in front of so they don't want their kids to cry and they want themselves to be on their devices because everybody's addicted to their tech. So the parents just lump them in front of their devices and say, well, look, they're behaving, they're quiet. Rather that than them running around screaming, you know, oh, right. And then they're just getting programmed and indoctrinated with witchcraft and the occult. And now, of course, these young kids are typing in the website address because the toy says to go to this website. And what's the website for? It's for porn.
Mattel is apologizing for a wicked mistake. A web link on the packaging for two dolls promoting the new movie Wicked was actually a link to a porn site. It was apparently a typo that left out some letters from the movie's website. Mattel said, "We deeply regret this unfortunate error. Parents are advised that this misprinted, incorrect website is not appropriate for children. Consumers are advised to discard the product's packaging or obscure the link."
Coming up,
For parents about these wicked Barbie dolls from Mattel, a serious misprint on the box. Instead of including the link to the Wicked movie website, the box lists a website of an adult film site.
Oh.
Mattel working to pull the dolls from store shelves. The company also apologizing and encouraging you to throw out that packaging or at least scribble out the website on the back of the box to prevent kids from visiting the site.
Yeah, you don't want them seeing that. All right.
So it's absolutely unbelievable. And the fact that all they have to do is come out and apologize is disgusting, right? We're told that there's all these organizations that regulate things like, you know, we know with food, right? They tell us the FDA regulates it, right? Then they tell us stories about how there's weed killer in Cheerios. And you say, well, if somebody is supposed to approve what's on the shelves, how in the world does not only weed killer get in the product, how does it get to the point where it's actually being sold in stores? And is anybody held accountable? And the answer is continuously no, because they deliberately do these things. And people out there, all they have to do is hear the story. Oh, Mattel apologized. Oh, we'll boycott Mattel. How about maybe we hold them legally responsible, criminally responsible for putting that garbage on a toy? Or maybe we could just take the porn sites down in general because it really doesn't provide any good to the world, does it? But we're in the upside down. So we have not only the internet, which allows pornography, we also have an unregulated internet where pretty much any child can access the internet at any time because the government has made it this way. In fact, the government is trying to get phones in the hands of children. We've even seen stories about how school buses, one of the top things the government's trying to do is get Wi-Fi on the school bus. So that's wonderful, right? I mean, it's absolutely insane what is going on in this world. And the movie, if you don't know, before I get into the story about the actual how this happened, how they tell us this possibly could occur in the year 2024, somehow nobody saw it and noticed it. But the movie Wicked stars Ariana Grande, a witch, somebody who has all the basic MK Ultra programming in its music videos, from the alien deception stuff, women and men mating with aliens, aka demons, to all of the other crap that we've seen Ariana Grande involved in, including saying that God is a woman, which in fact couldn't be more false. That's why the word father is in the Bible, because God is not a woman, he's a man. But they'll tell you in this world that a father could actually be a woman, because nothing makes any sense anymore. And of course, the movie promotes witches and witchcraft. And like I said earlier, parents will take their kids to go and see it, and they won't think anything of it. They'll say, what's the big deal? It's just make-believe, right? I mean, we put our kids in front of all these Disney movies, and, we don't notice that it's all about witchcraft and Satanism anyway, because we like Disney, so we're just going to ignore that, right? So the toy company Mattel is the one responsible for this. And it says, the toy company Mattel has some explaining to do after dolls created in partnership with the new Universal Pictures movie Wicked were released in packaging that includes the web address for a pornographic website. And oh, by the way, the undertones of the movie Wicked, which I covered a few months ago, the undertone, like the theme of it is, well, there's vibes, let's just say, of two women in a relationship with each other, right? A good witch and a bad witch. They're very touchy-feely in the trailer. And of course, that would be marketed towards children. So the doll's direct replications of the actors, the address found on the back of the doll directs to a page that requires people to be 18 years or older. The dolls being, I love how they claim like that's a way to keep kids off of these sites. Like it says, are you 18 or not, right? Like, can't the kid just click, I'm 18? That's how you're preventing children from accessing this stuff, right? Oh yeah, they wouldn't lie and say that they're older than 18. They're gonna be dead honest while they're on a porn site. I mean, give me a break. This government, it's unbelievable, really is. The address found in the back directs children to a pornographic website for adults 18 or older. The dolls being sold at retailers like Target, Kohl's, and Amazon advertise the toy is acceptable for children over the age of 4, but is a choking hazard for those under the age of 3. So if you're under the age of 3, you might choke on the doll, but if you're older than 3, then it's suitable for you because, of course, it's a witch and it's promoting witchcraft. Oh, yeah, and by the way, it's sending your 5-year-old to pornographic websites, and of course, they're being completely held unaccountable for it. In a statement given by Mattel, they say, we were made aware of a misprint on the packaging of the Mattel Wicked Collection dolls, primarily sold in the US, which intended to direct consumers to the official wickedmovie.com landing page. We deeply regret this unfortunate error and are taking immediate action to remedy this. Parents are advised that the misprinted, incorrect website is not appropriate for children. Consumers who already have the product are advised to discard the product packaging or obscure the link and may contact Mattel customer service for further information. Oh, let me guess. You're going to have to take photographs of it for Mattel to give you a refund because they're likely not going to give you a refund, right? They're going to want you to send it back, When in fact, why don't we just get all the Mattel Wicked dolls and burn them? That would be a great start. We watch the demons fly out of the dolls because I'm sure all these dolls come complete with demonic possession, right? Other Wicked-inspired toys manufactured by Lego and Funko do not include the adults website. It is strictly from Mattel. And like I said earlier, the origins of Mattel. Mattel has wonderful products for children like the Magic 8 Ball, right? I mean, these are things that Mattel is selling towards kids, not to mention MK Ultra Barbie programming. For anyone out there that doesn't know about Barbie programming, princess programming, this whole mindset of young girls wanting to be princesses, this is MK Ultra at its finest. That's why they constantly market this stuff towards kids, princess, princess, princess. So what does it create? Well, it creates literally a princess. You ever hear these adults that are like, I'm a princess, and you're like, you're a lunatic. They're like, I'm a princess, but I like my things the way I like them. And you just go, wow, you're a sheeple. Congratulations on that. So they have the Magic 8 Ball Mattel also owns Fisher-Price, by the way, for anybody out there. Would you be surprised at this point if Fisher-Price just slaps on the pornographic website on some of its toys that are getting sold to kids? Not to mention some of these Fisher-Price toys and how you want to see how you get a society like this and how you dumb kids down with electronics. The Fisher-Price is, you know what I mean? I'm sure you've been at someone's house and you've heard like some of these toys playing in the background, or you've seen some of these commercials, right? I mean, this is how you get a society like this. You give them these stupid things that Fisher-Price makes from Mattel instead of teaching your kids trades. You know, you got the Amish kid, they're out there 2 years old, probably out there farming and learning how to milk cows and everything else. But, you know, people who are institutionalized in America, which means if you have a television or you have some type of media, you're constantly told, well, you got to get the Fisher-Price stuff. People buy it, right? For your cousins, your sisters, your kids. You see people, then you just go, what does this do? Well, it just screams out, you know, really creepy lullabies that are likely witchcraft, because the origins of a lot of those lullaby things that you always hear also go back to witchcraft. Not to mention, again, Fisher-Price has a lot of those spiral symbols on their toys, which I've covered in the past when talking about a specific pizza place in Washington, D.C. that they like to play ping pong at, right? That spiral symbol. Very weird that it's always on kids' toys, isn't it? Oh, as well as the heart for Baal that they put on all these kids' toys as well. So, again, and the origins, you know, for Barbie go back to Ruth Handler, and you could just take a guess. Ruth Handler of Barbie and Ruth Handler's husband also are members of the synagogue of Satan. So it's not a coincidence when you look at these people, their origins of being members of the synagogue of Satan, that something like this actually happens, right? And how fitting it is that it's the toy, of course, of a witch that shouldn't be sold in the first place. You know, in other time periods, we wouldn't be glorifying Satan and glorifying witches. Christians would have taken matters into their own hands. But in the year 2024, of course, we can all see that not only are Christians not preventing this stuff from happening, they're going to these movies as well and buying these toys for their kids because they've been trained to think that people like me, the way that I'm speaking, that's satanic panic stuff, right? That's satanic panic. Oh, that's too depressing for me to hear. And of course, most of these parents want to bring their kids to Disney because they went to Disney as kids. They didn't realize that they were really going through MK Ultra programming, because that's what Disney is. It's literally CIA headquarters underground at Disney, not to mention Walt Disney himself being, you know, the founder of the DMLA, which is the organization that grooms young children and turns them into Freemasons when they get older. And by groom, you all know what that means. So there's no correlation there with Walt Disney and some of the books that are out there about Walt Disney and what he really was practicing and partaking in that people don't want to accept because they love going to Disney World. They enjoy going there and they can't seem to separate themselves from that. So Wicked movie dolls, this is just absolutely disgusting that this is even like something that's discussed. That we, you know, who regulates this stuff? You mean to tell me, okay, let's just say hypothetically, you have a job somewhere and you're going to be selling products that are going to go into Target and Walmart and all these other places. Nobody's checking that. Nobody looked. There's no proof, there's no editors, there's no nothing. That nobody was like, let's make sure that the website's correct. Oh my goodness, because it could be a porn site. No, nobody saw it. And it just ended up on shelves. And none of the companies that look at the products that go on the shelves, right? Because there's regulators with all this stuff. Just like I said with the FDA. What do you think? I could make food and stick it on a shelf at the grocery store without a government agency looking at it? No, you can't. So somebody clearly wanted it out there. And if you look at the origins of Mattel and their Magic 8-Ball, this is just deliberately done, and they can get away with it, right? They love getting away with this stuff out in the open, and on top of that, it happens to be on a toy that they're selling to children 4 and up that's glorifying and promoting witchcraft. Can't make this stuff up, folks. Only in America and only in 2024, or should I say Babylon. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.